What is up, guys? It is KikiZilla 101 here yet again, and welcome back to another zoo review. Now, zoo reviews is a little series I'm doing here on YouTube with a couple of my YouTube friends such as Dino Man, Spino Dude, and ArtsyDilo, and where we're reviewing as many modern day animal figures as we can, and we're putting them all in one big playlist. Today we're going to be reviewing the Safari Ltd 2016 Wildlife Wonders Moose. Now, this figure was kindly sent over to me by Safari Ltd themselves for the hashtag HowISafari campaign, so I want to send over a huge thank you for sending this figure out to be reviewed on the channel. Now remember, if you want to get your own Wildlife Wonders Moose or any other Safari Ltd product, make sure to head over to www.safariltd.com and use the promo code KikiandCoffee1 with a capital K, A, and C and get 20% off your next purchase. Or just use the link provided in the description. This figure, oh my goodness, I just could not resist it. When I first saw the images of this amazing moose figure with the pose, the detail, just everything just was stunning looking. I knew that immediately the next time I got something from Safari, I needed to ask them to get a hold of this figure. I didn't care about getting another dinosaur or prehistoric world figure because this thing looked stunning. Absolutely stunning. And I have to tell you, in person, oh, it's beautiful. It's easily one of my favorite Safari figures that I've owned, period. It's so great. The Wildlife Wonder series are these really big models. I mean, this thing is huge. It is enormous. Oh my gosh. They are hollow, so they're kind of like the Great Dinos figures, if you guys are familiar with those. Geez, the detail on this thing is stunning. Let's just take a quick look at all this little fur detail. I mean, look at my finger there, and then think about how big this figure is. And all of these little tiny minute fur textures. Oh my goodness, it is just beautiful. It is glorious. Look at this little tuft of fur on the back there. Then you can look at all this detail on the lovely face there. I mean, it really just captures the life of this animal so well. It's such a beautiful, stunning figure. I'm probably gonna end up using those words a lot, but it's because it's absolutely 100% true. Okay, let's get into the pose of this guy. One leg curling forward like he's ready to stride forward. He has one leg that is actually firmly planted on the ground, and then the back 2 feet are in another trotting pose. So this is clearly like a trotting or strutting moose, and it's lifelike. It is so well captured on this figure. You have all of the little crevices and tendons showing. It's just, it looks like a real moose. It is so stunning. It is really a great pose. And you look at the neck here, it is curved off to the side, and we even have the little like beard that's waving off to the other side because the head is turning that way. It is just such a beautiful figure. Look at all the musculature here on the actual legs and thighs. The colors mixed together so well, mixed together really well in person. Now the legs here that are tan, I do believe this is actually just the color of the plastic, so that's just not really painted, but it doesn't really detract from it because it actually blends in quite well with the rest of the color scheme there. The antlers have this like veiny pattern that goes through it. This is probably one of the weaker points of the model for me. I don't think that they're bad, not even close. I think they're quite good, but overall I think they could have done a lot more detail with the antlers for sure. So it's a little unfortunate there's just these like wavy lines and maybe not a little bit more texture to the antlers. But overall I think that they do the job. They're not a distraction at all. You really have to look at it close up in order to really notice that they're not really matching up with the rest of the figure. Now quickly I'm going to cover accuracy on this guy. Color-wise, definitely accurate. The figure is beautifully accurate, even down to the color of the eye. Now, this is only questionable. This color, the lighter color, tan color along the bottom of the legs, some moose, I do believe, actually have this, and there are some individual variation with certain individual moose. However, most moose that I've seen do have this more darker brown that kind of carries down throughout the entire leg, so it's not quite fully accurate to most moose. But then again, some moose do look like this, so it's not really that big of a deal. They also actually have this really cool feature I did not expect for them to add. When I actually saw it on the figure, I had to look up to see if it was actually on the animal because I was confused. If you look at this little lip, this little black lip pouch there, I actually don't really know what that's for, but if it even is for anything. But the moose actually do have this little black, like, pocket type thing on the top of the lip there, and this figure captures that beautifully, and I'm really amazed that they got that much detail in there. The only real accuracy issue that I have is the actual eyes. If you look at the eyes, now the color of the eyes, there is no problem there. The color of the eyes is great. They are mostly brown eyes in real life, and actually a lot of the time the eyes are completely black on moose because the pupil is so large and the rest of the eye is covered up by the eyelids, and so you don't really actually see the iris or the white of the eye. So it's actually not too bad, and I think that's maybe why they made this one flaw that I have, and that's the way they painted the pupil. It's like this big long streak. It's a black streak across the eyeball. It's not an actual like dot. It's not like the actual animal. The actual animal does have a circular pupil, not this big horizontal line through there. And also it's like it disappears right there, which it doesn't do on the other side. The other side, the line goes all the way across the eye. But it is a very odd choice, and maybe this was them trying to replicate the fact that moose sometimes look like their eyes completely black. But I really would have preferred if they just did a black dot and not the black line, because that would have been a lot more accurate to the animal, and sometimes it kind of gives it a little bit more of a sinister reptilian look, and it does kind of look a little goofy from the front at times because of that one part that they don't have the black line completely go through. But I do believe because this is hand painted that yours will probably not be like this. It will be different. I wouldn't worry about that too much, and even with that, it is not a major distraction of the figure overall. My only other major drawback to the figure is the seam lines. Unfortunately, with these larger Wildlife Wonders figures, I believe it is something you get with all of them. I'm not completely sure. I don't have very many of them, so correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. This Wildlife Wonders moose does have this seam going across here, and it has this like really glossy finish to it, which can be very distracting in certain lighting, but in person it's a lot less obvious. Please take my word on this, but in person, you see how shiny this looks right here? It doesn't look like that to me when I'm looking at it off the camera. I only noticed it on the camera there. So with the camera lens, it's going to look a lot more obvious. It doesn't look that obvious in person. On this side, it's a little bit more obvious, but that's just because it has a darker brown color. It's not because of the shininess. It's a little bit more well hidden on this side. But yet again, it's not really a big issue. The only other seam that you can find on the figure is right around the antlers, and I didn't even find that until actually more recently while I've had the figures, and that one is really well hidden. I mean, you can't even really notice that there's the seam around the antler right there, so they do a pretty good job about that, and I can understand because the antlers are pretty big. And anatomy wise, they do pay attention to certain areas on the figure. So you're getting a very anatomically correct animal. I will just throw that in there. All right, let's just go right into size comparisons real quick. We're going to put this Wildlife Wonders moose next to the Safari Limited 2007 Grey Wolf, the Howling version. This is such a cool figure. I have a review on this figure on the channel in the top right corner right now. At first I was thinking that this was like clearly too small, but actually when I was really thinking about it, a lot of wolves are pretty small. So, I mean, some wolves get bigger for sure, but an average wolf size, this is not too far off of a really large moose. This is not a completely inaccurate size comparison, like at all. You actually can get moose that are really big, and an average sized wolf would be about this size compared to the moose. So these two actually would be really great next to each other because they're actually quite size accurate. And I know how insane this looks, but take the word from somebody who lives in Colorado, who has seen moose in person, who has seen taxidermies of enormous moose. They get huge. They get absolutely enormous, like 9+ feet at the shoulder. It is crazy how tall these things can get. So yeah, this is really actually quite a lovely size comparison. I'm really actually happy I noticed that because I really do think I want to display these two next to each other now. We're also going to just bring out a couple other figures we reviewed on Zoo Reviews. The playlist for Zoo Reviews will be up in the top right corner, so there you go. You can check out the rest of the reviews for those other guys. So we have the Harpy Eagle from 2017 and the 2018 Vaquita Porpoise. For our dinosaur people on the channel, we're going to bring out our control size comparison, the Safari Ltd Utyrannus from 2015, and we'll just bring out my other two 2019 figures I got from the latest Safari package for the #Safari campaign, which was the 2019 Stegosaurus and 2019 Prestosuchus from the Prehistoric World collection. So overall, this is easily one of my favorite Safari figures I own. It's incredibly naturalistic, has a beautiful pose that really captures the life of the animal, and I would highly, highly recommend it. My only few drawbacks to the figure is that, yes, I mean, I could have gone for maybe a little bit of darker of the legs, but really, I actually quite like the colors there. I don't think it looks bad. Maybe the antlers could have been a little bit more detailed, but yet again, that doesn't bother me. The only things that really bother me are the seam line is a little bit annoying at times, and the eyes, I really do wish that those were actually black pupils and not the black lines that go through their eyes. But other than that, I think this thing is just beautiful. The detail is incredible. The colors, everything just is stunning. And just with those handful of little tiny critiques, I can't bring myself to knock this down very far. So this figure is going to get an incredible 9 out of 10. Can't recommend this figure enough. If you guys are a fan of modern day animals or of North American wildlife or even deer like I am, I love deer. Moose are probably my second favorite species of deer, first being elk. Then I would highly recommend this figure. I think it's incredible. I think it goes for around $21.99 on Safari's website, so definitely 100% worth it. Oh my goodness, I mean, this is a figure I'd buy again. So yet again, remember, if you guys want to get this moose or any other Safari Ltd product, make sure to head over to www.safariltd.com and use the promo code KikiandCoffee1 with capital K, A, and C, and you get 20% off your next purchase, or just use the link provided in the description. So yet again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.